And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to the home of the Yard of Bricks, maybe one of the most historical venues in motorsports history. This is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and this is the second annual Indy Lights 250 presented by Blame Shelley Insurance. Getting ready for 25 laps of racing in today's race. Not only is it a main event in its own right, but also it is a qualifying race to try and get into the big one, the second annual Blame Shelley Insurance Indianapolis 500. Right on the eve of Christmas, want to welcome you all here to this event, as on the front row it is an all Ganassi front row with Vince Almriego starting on the pole position and rolling off alongside of him his teammate, if you will, the 9 of Quentin Moore. Let's go down trackside real quickly. They're going to give the command to fire up the engines, and then we will talk to you about the list of drivers coming into this race and what they are racing for here today. So the command has been given. The pace car will lead them around this track for their one pace lap. So we have a total of 30 drivers in this field here today. The goal for these 30 drivers is to finish out the race inside of the top 6. We have 20 drivers right now that are locked into the Indianapolis 500. 6 rides, if you didn't see the signups, were listed as reserved. Those 6 reserved rides are for the 6 drivers that transfer from this event into the main event. So it'll be very interesting to see just how aggressive these drivers decide to be here early on. And another thing I've been told is that these drivers, their fuel window is somewhere between 22 to 24 laps. We have a 25 lap event here today. Will we see a fuel strategy race in the close of this session? We're going to have to wait and see, because I've not really ever, when in an Indy car, tried saving fuel. So I don't know if it's possible to do that with these cars. Obviously, a lot of aerodynamics and draft come into play here, so you may have the opportunity to be able to save some fuel that way, but I don't know. Can anybody stretch it the full 25 lap scheduled distance? And that is speculating that we don't have a yellow flag during the course of this race. One thing we see a lot of times here at Indianapolis, doesn't matter if we're in Indy cars, whether we're in Cup cars, Xfinity cars, trucks, when they had these double file starts to begin the race, you see them attempt 3 wide going into this portion of the track, turns 3 and 4, and more often than not, it does not end without some kind of contact leading to a caution, and usually it's where some of our most violent wrecks take place as well whenever we come to this racetrack. So we'll see. Maybe, fingers crossed, we'll go green flag all the way to the end, and we may be in for a doozy of a fuel strategy finish. But here we go. Vince Almriego and Quentin Moore, they will lead us down here as we get set for the second annual Indy Lights 250 presented by Blame Shelley Insurance. Happy Christmas Eve, everybody. Let's roll. Almriego out in front, pressured by Johnny Gardner. Gardner's going to take a peek to the inside for the race lead down the back straightaway on lap 1. Right down in front of Jack Lagacy in the 28. Can he get to the left rear quarter panel into 3? Yes, he will. He might clear him actually out of turn 3. Not quite. Up here at the front, at least, they're making it work with the double wide through 3 and 4. As Johnny Gardner out in front. Oh, caution flag is out. The caution lights I saw were on. Yellow flag is out, so the first half of the field got through 3 and 4 without incident, but something tells me that the latter half didn't. So we do not complete the first lap of the day under green flag conditions. Johnny Gardner, though, started 3rd, finds himself in the lead. And let's see who was involved. Kyle Langland, number 25, was involved in this one. Carter Friesen, and that's Jessica Shelton in the 94. Charles Sanford's back here towards the rear of the field. I don't know if he got involved. Sorry for that lag spike there. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. So I don't know what exactly the number of total drivers involved in the wreck were, but 3 drivers sit on pit road. Langland, Friesen, and Shelton. as Johnny Gardner leads the way under our first caution. This makes it very interesting now in terms of can they save some fuel under pacing. I want to see if they're going to come to pit road or not, and no, they aren't. Nobody's coming to pit road, at least up towards the front. I don't look like anybody here in the field is coming to pit road. So this is going to make it very interesting in terms of, did this caution put these drivers now within the fuel window they can make it the scheduled distance on one tank? We'll wait and see. Let's go back and see what brought out the caution, though, for the first time here today at Indianapolis. So this is going down to the entrance of turn 3. And that is Carter Friesen, that blue car in the middle, Shelton on the outside, and to the inside is Kyle Langland, and I think they might have been 3 wide coming off the corner. Yeah, they were just barely 3 wide. Friesen into the left rear quarter panel of Shelton, sends them down into the racing line of Kyle Langland, and oh my goodness, this is going to be almost, oh wow! That's almost literally a 90-degree angle that they just hit that wall at. And look at that, Friesen and Langland's car actually become lodged in the fence, in the wall. Shelton's car breaks free, and she goes into a wild barrel roll, heading into the entrance of turn 4. Look how the whole left front wing, the whole left front wheel were completely ripped off of that car. And I'm worried about these guys as well, because that is a violent stop from almost 190, maybe 200 miles per hour down to 0 in a matter of a few seconds. That is really, really scary. Let's take a look at another angle. Well, we talked about how aggressive were these drivers going to be early on. These drivers were near the rear of the field, and so obviously trying to make moves to get to the front. And just watch the hit that these drivers take. Wow. I've seen some violent hits. I've seen some wild wrecks here before at Indianapolis, but usually the cars are built to withstand barrel rolls and whatnot, usually, with all the safety equipment there, but I don't think anybody is ready for a wreck like this where cars just come to a dead stop after getting lodged into the wall. That is scary, scary. Hopefully Shelton's okay too after a wild ride. Fortunately, that car landed back down on all 4 wheels, and it looks like, just like that, 1 lap in, 3 drivers will not be in the running for a transfer spot into the Indianapolis 500. Let's go back for the green. Leader just got the 1 to green signal, so the green flag will come back out on lap 6 of 25. Johnny Gardner, the current leader of this race. So with that caution coming out, these drivers technically had about 4 laps to be able to try and save fuel here under caution. So the question being, will they be able to make it the rest of the way now with the aid of this early yellow flag? The other thing that I'm also wondering too is, will we be going green to the checkered flag? Because as I mentioned before, the start of the race, they're double file. That gives them more of an anxious feeling of trying to go 3 wide into turns 3 and 4, which obviously we saw the end result of that with the early departure of Jessica Shelton, Carter Friesen, and Kyle Langland. But with the single file restart, drivers are going to be probably able to go double wide. They won't be as anxious to go 3 wide. And they can handle double wide through 3 and 4 without a wreck. So, did we see our last caution of the day? Maybe so. And if that's the case, it's going to make it very interesting, as I said, in terms of that fuel window and whether these drivers can make it the rest of the way. Because remember, none of these drivers came to pit road under this caution. It'll be Johnny Gardner, the race leader. Second place will be Jack Lagasse. Third place will be Igor Barreto. Then it will be the pole sitter, Vince Almriego, lining up in 4th, and 5th place is Eli Bright. Driver right now that would have the final transfer spot in Indy 500 would be Quentin Moore, sitting in 6th. The rest of your top 10, though, are going to be Gary Barlow in 7th. 8th place is Dallas McIntosh. 9th will be Jonathan Zorlin, and completing the top 10, James Qualls. Green flag set to come back out, as we will have 20 laps left to go here in the Indy Lights 250. Gardner gets a good jump. Lagasse appeared to be napping a little bit, as did Almriego. It's about a 3, maybe 4 car length gap from Johnny Gardner back to this raging battle for second. Lagasse has it, Barreto wants it. The draft obviously very much comes into play in these types of races, so expect if these guys stay lined up, they'll get right back to the bumper of Johnny Gardner, and we may have a battle on for the lead momentarily. Battle's going to be for 3rd. Almiriego's going to make the pass on Barretto. He's going to bring the three of Eli Bright with him, and now Eli Bright once more. Eli Bright's going to make a move there for third place. Quentin Moore's going to move down there. Dallas McIntosh with him as well. That inside line moving, and Almiriego is going to start dropping back. You can see just how much the draft is important here, as Almiriego lost 4 spots in the matter of 1 corner. We could have a battle for the lead here momentarily. Jack Lagasse has run down Johnny Gardner. As this battle for third place continues, now McIntosh to the inside of Quentin Moore for 4th. Ooh, look at the 2 car. Jonathan Zorlin sliding up there in the corner. Gotta hang on to it. Meanwhile, up here at the front, Johnny Gardner with a rear view mirror full of the 28 of Jack Lagasse. Ooh, Lagasse tries to make a move, almost got Gardner in the left rear quarter panel. That was close. Gonna try and get to the inside out of 2, can't do it, not enough momentum down the straightaway. Loses a little bit of ground there, he might have had to lift off the corner. As Eli Bright is the charger right now, he's moved up into the 3rd position. Remember, these drivers, obviously they're racing for a win, but they're also battling for that 6th position on track. Right now, that spot's being held by the 2 of Jonathan Zorlin. Doesn't matter if you don't win the race, as long as you finish in the top 6, you will take part in the 2nd annual Blame Shelley Insurance Indianapolis 500, taking place tomorrow. Gardner left the door open down low. Lagasse put his foot in there, but again, Lagasse just not able to quite get the run off the corner to get the straightaway speed. That might end up costing him. Eli Bright jumped up to the outside, now not going to be able to get around him, and that's going to open the door for McIntosh. Whoa! Little contact maybe there between McIntosh and Lagasse. They settle it out though, but I think that Lagasse's left rear made contact with Dallas McIntosh's right front, and now McIntosh losing some spots in turn 1. No grip on that outside line. He's going to drop from 3rd all the way back to about the 7th position. Maybe he'll lose a couple more spots. Yeah, he's going to drop back to around 9th as he's going to get passed by James Qualls and Philip Goldberg. And it's a bit of a gap back there before you get to a 2nd group led by Daniel Voiles. Voiles right now in that 10th position, trying to fight off Marcus Sacchi in the 83. Behind them, you've got 12th and 13th. That's Chase Marks in the 22, and right behind him, a driver that I've never actually had in a race that I've commentated before. A driver making his debut, and that is Gary Barlow. And look how far back the pole sitter Vince Almiriego has dropped. Back to the 14th position. Started this race from the pole and started the restart from, I think it was around the 5th, 6th position. Boy, they are racing really aggressively up here, though. They are getting so close to each other's left rear quarter panels. It's a wonder we haven't had another wreck. As Igor Barretto starting to fall back. This is a battle for 5th place. Philip Goldberg going to complete the pass. Meanwhile, further up, Jonathan Zorlin is going to move up to the 2nd position. Johnny Gardner must have slipped up in turn 1. He just lost the race lead to Quentin Moore. Just lost 2nd to Zorlin. Now under fire from Goldberg for 3rd, so Gardner falling back all of a sudden, as is Jack Lagasse. They're now 4th and 5th, and just moments ago, those 2 were running 1st and 2nd. One thing about these cars, they go so fast that when you go into a corner, sometimes it doesn't stick, and that might have been what happened to Johnny Gardner in turn 1 on the last lap. And it's going to cost him the race lead and a spot on the podium, at least for the moment, as we are past the halfway point here in the Indy Lights 250. Quentin Moore out in front, Jonathan Zorlin trying to run him down in 2nd, Philip Goldberg right there in 3rd, then a ways back to Gardner. Barretto in 5th, and then there's a good battle here for the transfer spot, the final transfer spot. James Qualls will make the move on Jack Lagasse. Gonna bring Eli Bright along with him, Dallas McIntosh there, and then that orange and blue car of Marcus Sacchi also up here in the mix. So Qualls right now in the final transfer spot. Back up towards the front as we got a battle brewing for 2nd. Philip Goldberg with a run on Jonathan Zorlin. Looks to make the move into turn one. Looks like turn one is definitely the best area for passing because there's very little grip up on that top side. You put a car up there on the outside line, they're basically at your mercy, have to give you the spot. So that's why we're seeing a lot of drivers making their moves more so on the front straightaway into turn one than on the back straightaway into turn three. And boy, Philip Goldberg's got a fast car. Not only did he make a very quick pass on Zorlin, he is very quickly reeling in Quentin Moore for the top position. Going to be about maybe a car length and a half between the top two as we hit the line. And look at Philip Goldberg. Tried the slingshot move into turn one, but he wasn't close enough to get to the left rear quarter panel of Quentin Moore. Let's drop back a little bit here, see if we got any battles going on. Not really. We do actually have a lineup here for that sixth position. Qualls, Bright, McIntosh, and go a ways back before you find Marcus Achi. Mitchell Collins now up into the 10th position. And right behind him, you got Kyle Thomas in the 8th. So we've got a couple of drivers now working their way up towards the front that we haven't talked about yet today. On the flip side, we've got drivers towards the rear of the field as well. Why don't we actually, since we've got about 10 laps to go, why don't we give you a full field rundown of who is currently running where? Goldberg, now the race leader, made the pass on Quentin Moore. So Moore back to second. Third place, Jonathan Zorlin. Johnny Gardner in fourth. Fifth place is Igor Barreto. There's James Qualls right now in the final transfer spot in sixth. He's got a rear deck lid full of Eli Bright in seventh. Eighth is Dallas McIntosh. Ninth, Marcus Achi. In the top 10 is Mitchell Collins. Kyle Thomas right now in 11th. 12th is Jack Lagacy. Trying to march his way back to the front is Chase Marks. He's in the 13th position. 14th place just changed hands. Gary Barlow takes the spot. Dropping back to 15th is Daniel Voiles. He's now under fire from Eric Sadler. Sadler will go to 15th. Move Voiles back to 16th. 17th place is Vince Almariego. 18th place is going to be Charles Sanford. 19th is Eric Monaco. And in 20th place is going to be Adam Garcia. 21st is Mary Cole. 22nd, Joshua Sakuli. 23rd, Peter Onjak. 24th, Nathan Stapleton. 25th, Wyatt Quayle. 26th is Bobby Frazier. 27th right now, last car running, Zach Winkle. And then we have 3 cars out of the race after our first caution. Those are Jessica Shelton, Carter Friesen, and Kyle Langland. Now, you saw those guys there near towards the back of the pack, and you're probably thinking, well, they're out of the running. There's no chance that they're going to be able to get a top 6. Well, bear in mind the fact that we do have the potentiality of these drivers maybe having to pit before this race is over. Could any of those guys back there towards the rear of the field have been saving? Have a battle here for 4th place, Johnny Gardner and Igor Barreto. And if these guys start racing, that'll allow James Qualls, Eli Bright to get up there, and they might be able to swap away a couple of transfer spots from these guys. Gardner was really strong early on, took the lead back on lap 1 after starting 3rd, but that car's handling has seemed to go away the longer the run has continued. He's dropped back now, currently situated in the 4th position. Igor Barreto seems to be a lot better on corner exit. Looks like Gardner's car gets tight coming out of turns 2 and 4. That opens the door for the 4 car, but Barreto not able to make the move just yet. Back up towards the front. Quentin Moore holding at least within range of Philip Goldberg, but after Goldberg got around him, Goldberg's been able to keep himself in front. So I'm kind of interested, though, that the fact that Goldberg was able to run down Quentin Moore so easily for the lead, but after taking the top spot, he hasn't been able to really pull away from him. That just shows you how important draft is. I think Philip Goldberg's got a good car in the draft. Maybe not necessarily as good a car when he's out in front leading. And boy, they are congested back here for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Gardner, Barreto, and now James Qualls joins the party. Qualls has to be smart because he's in that final transfer spot into the Indianapolis 500. Doesn't want to risk not making it into the Indy 500 by making a move that could take him out of the race, especially as we are nearing 5 laps to go. The leaders actually just are about to take it. 5 laps to go. And now we enter into that crucial fuel window area. Can these drivers make it? Fuel window is about 23 laps. They had the aid of 4 caution laps at the beginning of this race. Were they able to save enough to make it all the rest of the way? Wonder if Quentin Moore might be saving here, as there's a battle for 5th. Qualls, woo! I don't know if he moved Barretto up or not, but he's going to get 5th place, and that moves Barretto now back into the 6th spot. And Johnny Gardner's pitting. Gardner is pitting from the 3rd position. There's another car coming to pit road. That looks like the 26 of Daniel Voiles. So there are some drivers that cannot make it on fuel, and all of a sudden, the aspect of the finish of this race has taken on an entirely different look. So what about the top 2, top 3, top 6? Can they make it on fuel? Gardner's pitting with about 4 laps to go. So that means to me that I don't know if anybody of these guys can make it. If Gardner couldn't, although remember Gardner spent a good portion of the race out in front, so he might have used up a lot more fuel than these other drivers. And here comes the 2nd place car, Quentin Moore, to pit lane. Eli Bright's going to pit as well. So we've got some more of our leaders hitting pit road. Philip Goldberg does not pit though. So he's the race leader. I believe Qualls moves up to 2nd, McIntosh to 3rd, Barretto to 4th. 5th place right now would be Marcus Acci, and right now in the 6th position would be Mitchell Collins in the final transfer spot. Goldberg's out in front quite a bit. I would start backing it off a little bit. He's about 4 seconds in hand over 2nd place. Back off a little, save some fuel, but he's backing up because he's coming to pit road. And so too, it looks like, is Qualls and McIntosh. A couple of cars are staying out. Barretto is staying out. 2 laps to go. Marcus Acci stayed out. So too did Jack Lagasse. As now here's a battle for the lead on track. Acci to the inside of Barretto. He's going to clear him. So now it's Acci, Barretto, Lagasse. Almiriego's now back up here. He's 4th. Then Eric Sadler and Chase Marks right now would be in the transfer positions. And they've got about 3 seconds in hand back to the 7th place car, which right now is Adam Garcia. And they are not coming to pit road. They're going to risk it. Going to risk it for the biscuit. Marcus Acci will see the white flag. Acci, Barretto, Lagasse, Almiriego, Sadler, and Marks. Do they have enough fuel to make it? They might have to deal with traffic here as well, as that's Quentin Moore just up ahead, though he probably has fresher tires. I don't know if he took tires or not. There's Goldberg coming off pit road, but he's not in the race lead. Marcus Acci is. Through 3 and 4, I don't hear that car sputtering. Will Barretto make a move? Will Lagasse make a move? Or are they going to be content to ride 2nd and 3rd? Because if they do, they're still going to race in the Indy 500. Barretto looks to the inside, can't get there. Marcus Acci is going to win the 2nd annual Indy Lights 250 presented by Blame Shelley Insurance. He will transfer into the Indianapolis 500, as will 2nd place Igor Barretto, 3rd place Jack Lagasse, 4th place Vince Almiriego, the pole sitter, 5th place Eric Sadler, and the final driver to clinch a spot into the Indianapolis 500 tomorrow is the 22 of Chase Marks. And it came down to fuel strategy, and I'm looking at the RPMs here of the 83. He's out of fuel. He is out of fuel. He was about half a lap to the good. I wondered if anyone was trying to save him fuel. And apparently that was the case. Wow. What an exciting finish here at Indy. You don't see fuel strategy races very often with the Indy cars. But man, that was awesome. So Marcus Acci will get himself locked into the Indianapolis 500 along with the 5 others that finished in the top 6. And they will be in those reserved rides that were back during the Indianapolis 500 signups. Now they will start from 21st back through 26th in the starting grid, but what a great performance by these guys. And now you got to wonder if maybe with a 50-lap event coming up for the Indianapolis 500, if a lot of those drivers that are in the Indianapolis 500 are going to start to think, maybe, just maybe, we better start thinking about some fuel strategy in that race. But here's a look at your finishing results from this event. From Acci down to Chase Marks, they will be in the Indianapolis 500. just missing out on it. Adam Garcia, Wyatt Quayle, Bobby Frazier, they were other drivers that also stayed out and risked it on fuel. They'll come away with top 10s, but they will not transfer into the Indianapolis 500. Quentin Moore is the highest of the drivers that did come to pit lane, as he will finish in 10th. Philip Goldberg in 11th. Qualls 12th. McIntosh, Thomas, and Collins will be your top 15 as you look on down through the remainder of the finishing results here. And we had 3 drivers finish out of the race after a caution on lap 1. A hard wreck for Jessica Shelton, Carter Friesen, and Kyle Langland. But the spots that really matter in this race are positions 1 through 6, because Sachi, Barretto, Lagasse, Almariego, Sadler, and Marks will be racing in the Indianapolis 500. Hope you guys enjoyed this race. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become a part of the crew today. And we will see you guys tomorrow evening. A very Merry Christmas to you all. Hope you enjoy the Indianapolis 500 presented by Blame Shelley Insurance. That will be coming up tomorrow. And I will see you guys for that race, as you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. Happy Christmas Eve, everybody.